Okay, it's 9 o'clock on my computer here, so thanks for joining us, everyone. We might as well start. I have several announcements in the beginning. Good morning and welcome to the Chair's Breakfast. I'm Terry Ackerman, Chair of the Select Board this year. And first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for your service to the town. As you know, this town.
Sent your email, period. I was going to talk about water quality, testing, and people management.
Okay, I'd like to ask everyone to please mute your computer until it's your turn on the round table. Thank you. So I want to thank each and every one of you for your service to the town. The town of Concord really depends on its volunteer committees, and all of you are spending time, energy, and dedication to the town. So I have several announcements, then we'll go around the room as usual. And if someone comes in late, I'm going to repeat all of these announcements at the end. So these Chair's Breakfast meetings will continue by Zoom every month at 9 a.m. on the third Wednesday of the month, except we probably won't meet in August because a lot of people are away. These meetings are a great opportunity for networking, exchanging ideas, and learning about other committees in town. If you cannot attend one of the Chair's Breakfasts in the future, please ask another member of your committee to fill in for you. We have set the town meeting date as Sunday, May 1st, 2022 at 1 p.m. Probably it will be in an indoor venue, but we will be talking lots more about that as time goes on. We are developing now the full calendar for all pre-town meeting events like the public hearings, warrant deadlines, etc. And that calendar will be posted on the website within the next few weeks. If you are not familiar with news and notices, please go to the town website homepage, click on How Do I, and then click on Notifications. You can sign up to get automatically notified for specific committee meetings, emergencies, and many important town events. Please inform your committee members and encourage them to sign up. And the reason for this announcement is I've been to several committee meetings recently where many people on the committee did not know of a certain event that affected them, and they didn't know about news and notices. So a lot of us know about it, but there are still some out there that do not. The Select Board liaison list has been finalized and is posted on the Select Board page of the website. If you haven't already done so, please add your new Select Board liaison to your meeting distribution list and remove the name of the old liaison. I know that sounds obvious, but I'm still getting some of my old notifications. And if you have not yet heard from your new Select Board liaison, please contact them or Jeremy so you can get acquainted. On the agenda format, I've been asked to remind you that when you post your meeting, please remember to do so at least 48 hours in advance. The agenda has to contain the physical address of the meeting location, that's the street address, followed by the Zoom link, if there is one. Okay, now I have a message about mimecast. Some citizens have been unable to access Concord public meetings via Zoom link. The town uses antiviral software called mimecast. This software screens all links to web pages known as hyperlinks to ensure they are safe to click. So when a member of the public clicks on the Zoom link in an agenda, they might receive a mimecast error or ask to be registered with mimecast. Our IT department is working to exempt Zoom meetings from this mimecast antiviral software, and in the meantime, if someone on your committee is having a problem accessing your meeting by Zoom, ask them to go to the Zoom website and input the meeting ID number and passcode to access the meeting. There's also an 800 number. Okay, my last announcement is pretty long. This is about committee meeting format. So as you probably know, from now until at least April 2022, the open meeting law permits each public committee to meet either in person, via Zoom, or a hybrid of the two. In Concord, we decided that each committee chair should choose the best option for your committee. It's great that our staff can now offer us a variety of options: live, hybrid, regular Zoom meeting, or webinar style Zoom meeting. Last year, most committees chose the regular Zoom meeting where all participants can see each other, and our citizens have weighed in clearly that they prefer this option. If this has been working for you so far, then I recommend sticking with it. There's one downside to this option, and that is that it's sometimes more prone to what they call Zoom bombing. Sometimes this is just a quick annoyance. Sometimes the whole committee can log off and log back into Zoom again, like a reboot. But in the worst case, the meeting has to be canceled, rescheduled, and reposted with 48 hours notice. So the webinar option is more secure, but the public can only see the committee members, not other participants. And many people have commented that they don't like that setup. So in making your decision, chairs need to weigh the trade-off between security issues versus the public's request to see all participants. Excuse me. Unfortunately, Zoom will not allow us to accommodate both objectives all in one format. One compromise that seems to be working at FinCom and CMLP is to use the webinar format, but periodically stop your committee discussion to read the names of the attendees who are not visible. For hybrid meetings, we are now able to accommodate you at 141 Kais Road and at the light plant. More options will be available shortly. But in the meantime, if you wish to hold a hybrid meeting at a different location, please contact Jeremy or Chris Carmody for setup instructions. Okay, why don't I stop there and see if anyone has questions on all of that, and then we will go around the round table. I see Nat Welch.
Thank you, Terry, and welcome aboard as the chair. The quick question on the scheduling of the rooms. We did our first hybrid meeting at Kais Road. It worked out very nicely. Is there an online schedule, or do we need to talk to Jeremy? Because we're trying to plan a September meeting off our usual date. So I'm just wondering if there's an online place we can look and see which room might be available on which day for a meeting. Thank you.
Okay, good question. I do not know. That would be a Jeremy coordination with Jeremy.
So I will send a note to Jeremy and find out. Thank you.
Okay. Christine Reynolds.
Thanks, Terry. So I know the townhouse is scheduled to be reopened, I think maybe next month. And I was just curious whether in the, the select board meeting room or in the hearing room, they were working on hybrid technology for either of those spaces.
Absolutely, yes. Okay, so we're going to do the round table. And as we go along, there might be more questions. Let me just check one more thing here. Sorry. Right. So if we go around now, and each of you should please introduce yourself, the committee you chair, and some brief news about current issues on your committee. And I will go in order. The first person I see on my screen is Carlin Reed.
Thanks, Terry. Carlin Reed, PEG Access Advisory Committee Chair. The Select Board recently approved our revised charge, which lowers our voting membership to 5 members from 7. We've been having trouble making quorum, and I think this will help us so that we can meet. Even with that lowered number, we still have 1 vacancy. So if you know someone who's interested, please have them send a green card in for the PEG Access. Our next meeting is September 9 at 1 p.m. I haven't decided yet how it's going to be held, but we'll figure that out. But until then, we've been doing a couple of things. Recently, I toured the TV station, Minuteman Media Network, at the high school, and I saw the upgraded equipment and the new layout. We hope to open the studio soon for student and adult use. MMN is in the process of hiring a new station manager. They are onboarding a new lead producer, and they have hired a part-time videographer. This still leaves 1 to 2 more positions to fill. PEG members are helping the fiber broadband completion get started. Our committee supported Article 41, and I think that issue is coming up before the Select Board very soon, perhaps as soon as July 26.
Yes.
PEG member Scott Hopkinson has volunteered to serve as the PEG rep on the fiber committee if that charge is approved. We also have several summer projects going on, including looking at how other towns' cable advisory committees are handling or have handled their cable franchise renewal process. Ours starts in October, and that's the PEG report. Any questions?
Thank you, Carlin. And that reminds me, besides introducing yourself and your committee and your news, if you have any vacancies coming up, state that also. And I'm going to announce the entire list of vacancies at the next meeting. Next, we have Louis Beres Beatty. I'm probably botching that. I apologize.
That's quite all right. I am Luis Perspedia. I am the Vice Chair of the Historic Districts Commission, and I'm standing for Peter Nobile, who wasn't able to be here today. Our committee has been continuing its usual business of making sure that the town remains a historic site of interest. We have 2 vacancies in our commission, and we have been reaching out to try to fill those 2. Items of note have been the current discussion that's going on with within the Select Board about a plaque commemorating the service in the Civil War of George Washington Dugan, where we had a spirited discussion and the presentation of different points of views, which I believe were sent as feedback to the Select Board. And we haven't seen another application. This refers to the placement of a plaque in Monument Square that commemorates the service of George Washington Dugan. Other than that, so far, I think that we have made the decision among ourselves to continue with the Zoom meetings, the space upon particular needs of some of our members. And so far, the format has been working out. But I think that we are open to considering other options, including the possibility of having a hybrid meeting, Zoom and physically present. That's about all. Any questions? I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Louis. Next, we will go to Rick Eifler.
Hi, Terry. Hi, everyone. Rick Eifler, Concord Housing Authority. We have a new executive director, which I probably announced last time, but she's fully in place right now and learning her job. And we also have a new administrative assistant. They're both named Jen. So chances are if you call the office, you have 2 out of 3 chance of the phone answered by a Jen. We are, I guess, we are going to be meeting in person for the foreseeable future. Our next meeting is August 5th at the And we meet at the community room in the Peter Buckley Terrace, which is across from Emerson Field, the elderly building that used to be the school there. One of our biggest current challenges is trying to get the little house built on the Giroux property on Commonwealth Ave across from the prison and right next to the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail. If you've driven by there, you can see that we are clearly not going to be building a house while they're doing the phase 1 construction of Giroux Park. It's currently, our house site looks like pretty much occupied by construction fencing for the construction access road to Giroux Park. So we have been trying to get some feedback from the town on the schedule of that construction. I assume it's going to proceed into the fall by the looks of things. So we, I guess, are hopeful that we might have a spring construction period for the little house if we can pull everything together. We have been to the Natural Resources Commission once, and we will go again in early September. We are pulling together our zoning board of appeals application to apply at the end of this month to be on the early September meeting there. So if all goes well, we'll have our zoning and our natural resources approvals in place, and then we'll just wait until we have a site to build the house again. We will be wanting, some clarification from the town as to the future use of that access road. It's mostly on a 20-foot easement through our little property that we were given by the town. And we are have been working on the assumption that it's not going to continue to be an access road after the phase 1 Giroux Park construction, which will include a new access road from the other side of Bruce Freeman Rail Trail where that little parking lot is. Because you can tell by the site that it can't be both an access road and a house site. In terms of the construction budget for that project, the initial, I'm laughing, but it's not funny. The initial construction budget for our $450,000 house was $750,000 due to probably a combination of material and construction costs that everybody's heard about, increases that everybody's heard about. Across the board, not only for our project, but all of the state's affordable housing and all construction really. And also in a combination with public bidding procedures and laws and prevailing wage laws for this type of construction. We think we can get that price down. That's just the initial budget based on the initial plans and has a lot of numbers in there that may not even apply. But in all likelihood, our project will be $100,000 or $200,000 more than our budget, and we will. We have some ability to fund that project through construction loan, maybe that will end up a mortgage for the property. But we'll probably be coming back to the town for some of its affordable housing money. And so I guess my question to maybe Terry or somebody is that affordable money still being administered by the town select board and town manager, or is there going to be, like this fall, are we populating that trust with a committee of some sort? I don't know, Terry.
Good question. Thank you, Rick. Yes, we have 4 out of 5 members appointed to the Municipal Housing Trust. And we're looking for a 5th member. And I'm about to write those 4 members today, actually, and ask them to start meeting. So if anyone knows of a 5th person who would like to apply to be the 5th member, great. we'll go from there. Sorry to hear that you're so far over budget on that house. Okay, the next person is Bill Camisa.
Hi, yes, it's Bill Kameza, and I'm representing the Tax Fairness Committee. The focus for us is, as has always been, the discount for seniors on their property tax if they meet certain requirements. It's the requirement in terms of their total assets and their income. The town has passed our own legislation about that. The big thing for us right now is that we have asked, and the town has approved, for this to be made permanent. So there's legislation, a bill in front of the state legislature asking that this be made permanent. And in fact, there's a hearing coming up tomorrow about this at the Joint Finance Committee at the State House. So we're hopeful that this will get passed. Then we will go back once more to the town and ask them to approve of it. And it'll become a permanent part of our permanent until the town revokes it process. The other thing we're doing is we're looking for ways to increase the publicity about this tax discount. Right now, about 40 households in town are able to use it. We think there's a lot more than that. We're doing research to see how many more we think are out there. And we're trying to find ways of, as I say, to increase publicity. And finally, we, like many other committees, need new members. We're down by at least, we have at least 4 members who are serving whose term has really expired. So, like the rest of the committees, we're searching. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you. I have a question on that hearing tomorrow. I didn't know that. Is anybody from the town attending?
Terry, I don't know. In fact, I just discovered it this morning preparing for this meeting. No one had forwarded any information, and I went to the state website and I see that it's scheduled for tomorrow. So I just wrote to some members about it, asking about members if they knew anything about this. And it will only take written testimony at this point.
Okay, thanks very much. Jeremy, I know is on this call. Jeremy, if you could look into that and let Stephen, myself, and the liaison know, we will.
Yeah, Bill, would you be able to just send me, Terry, and Stephen an email just so we have it in writing, and then we can figure out the appropriate person to get it to? Either way.
Jeremy. You bet.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Next, we have Tom Matthews.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tom Matthews. I've been the chair of the Assessors Board for the last 2 years. We have not had a meeting since town meeting, so I'm just staying on this role for the moment. The assessors are going to be meeting sometime in August to decide whether to stay with the virtual platform. We're leaning towards that, but right now we don't have too much to report. Most of our work is done in September, and then again in abatement season, which happens between February and May. This past year, we did have about 60 residents in commercial properties that filed for abatement of taxes. And we're looking very strongly at the commercial properties because we weren't able to offer much relief this year, but in 2022, we will be able to offer relief to the commercial residents. So thank you very much for your time. Cheers.
Thank you, Tom. Next on my screen is Susan Bates. And Susan, I don't know if you want to say anything or.
No, just happy to be here. I always get a lot out of this meeting. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you,
And
Susan.
everyone.
Next, we have Melissa Sawfield.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Terry. Well, congratulations. Yes, I'm Melissa Sawfield. I am now the co-chair, having served for the last couple of years as chair of the Concord Historical Commission. My co-chair is Tom Beardsley, who used to be the administrator of the old Vance. So some of the issues before the Historical Commission, we are developing a response to the Route 2A Battle Road resurfacing project that's under the auspices of Mass DOT. Our concern is, having reviewed some of the plans, that in no way does the project address the historic integrity or importance of the Battle Road, which underlays a fair portion of Route 2A. So I have prepared a draft that the commission will be responding to next month, and then we intend to share that or CC of that and share it with historical commissions of the other towns that would be involved: Bedford, Lexington, Lincoln. And then following the successful passage of the updated demolition delay bylaw, we are again reviewing the existing bylaw to see if there are any other provisions or procedures that we could propose as amendments for next year's town meeting that would and better protect the historic resources of the town. The other thing we're doing is, in anticipation of more applications for the demolition permits, given the fact that we've changed the date at which the bylaw kicks into a 50-year rolling time frame, we're trying to come up with some procedures that would streamline this, because we suspect that a fair number of these houses would not be protected, that there was no reason for them even to come before the commission for a hearing. But that's going to take some time, and we would obviously work with the town to make sure that we are handling that appropriately. I'm also working with Anka Voss, who's a special collections curator, and Nate Smith, the town archivist, on re-energizing, reorganizing the oral history program for the town of Concord, which is under the sort of administration, I guess, of the Concord Historical Commission. Our first series of interviews will be, we're starting very shortly with select personnel from Emerson Hospital. This is to document their experiences in the age of COVID. Then we're looking into future projects. Possibly next year is the 150th anniversary of the police department, Concord Police formation, and the following year of 150th anniversary of the Concord Free Public Library. In addition, I'm going to work with Aaron Stevens about creating something on the Historical Commission's website to encourage the community to suggest folks or projects that we could document through oral histories. And then the other thing, I'm looking to revive the historic coffees that used to be held in Concord. Starting in the fall. It's been a number of years since we've held those. They're in similar format to what the conservation coffees are. The idea being that we would have we invite obviously people from the historic properties and people interested in history, but also other communities to discuss issues that affect Concord, our historic properties and resources. A case in point would have been, or may still be, this Route 2A project, because it's not just Concord that affects, obviously it affects our neighboring communities and certainly the national park. I think that's about it. So thank you for the opportunity to report. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Melissa. Next, we're going to Christine Reynolds.
Thanks, Terry. I'm Chris Reynolds. I'm the chair of the Finance Committee. So we just had our first meeting in June. We have another one tomorrow, actually. So we're working on, we have one vacancy. So we're looking for, we can find someone from the business community. So two of the folks that we had that were from the business community have left. So that would be an opening we'd like to fill with somebody who has that kind of background. We're working on our committee assignments, so we haven't finalized them. If your committee used to be, had an observer, we'll try and keep those going until we have the new assignments done, but I hope to have that done this week or shortly thereafter. We'll also re-looking, as we do every year, at what committees we need to have observers at. So some years we may see there's a topic that we want to have an observer on, some years not. So if you have a question about whether you do or don't have a finance committee observer, feel free to let me know, ask a question. On the calendar, so we're very happy that the annual town meeting date was set. We're looking forward to the finalization of the rest of the calendar because that drives a lot of our work. We're now tied to the closing of the warrant in terms of when we issue our budget guidelines. And we're also interested in the timing of the special town meeting associated with the middle school. So when those calendars get worked out, that has implications for our work and the timing of our meetings. And right now we're working on our process with both town and school staff on the budget process for FY23. So that's what we're really focused on right now. Any questions? Great, thank you.
Yes, I have some draft dates that I'm going to try to email you today, so you'll have them in time for tomorrow's meeting.
That'd be great. Thank you, Terry.
Okay, next we will go to Jill Block.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jill Block from the Board of Health. We actually had our first public hearing last night for the first time since last March. So we are meeting in person live. Their next meeting will be August 17th. And I was named chair as of last night. So as you can imagine, the Board of Health has been COVID, and not much more for the past year. I'm happy to report though, as of, I think the statistics were as of June 24th, we have 70% of the population in Concord is fully vaccinated. The highest percentage of people who are vaccinated, 95%, is the age group of 16 to 19. I think the remaining population that's not vaccinated are basically the children that are younger than 12. There's a fair amount of senior citizens that are not, though. So I would encourage everybody to really get the word out and, you know, try to dispel whatever hesitancy there might be out there in that and lingering populations. Vaccines are so readily available at this point. You know, one of the things that kind of stalled in the past year were the state actions on tobacco control that were banning menthol products and such. But over the year, we actually had a really strong tobacco control agent that was doing inspections and doing education with a lot of our local vendors. And you know, they're no longer allowed to sell menthol products or flavored vaping products. And so there's been a couple of lingering vendors that have not been complying with that. And we agreed last night that it's time to start issuing fines. So there's a couple of those that are about to happen. I'm not going to share those details yet, but you know, anyway, we're resuming all of that. The other big issue that the Board of Health or the Health Department is grappling with is kind of the ongoing algae blooms in White Pond that has been closed since July 7th to swimming. The extent of the bloom is such that it's really unlikely that it's going to just clear up. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like White Pond will be open anytime soon for public swimming. And it's really important to continue to just let people know they should not be swimming in. There is signage on the public beaches, of which there are 4 in town. But people are still found swimming in there. So you know, it's just really important that people know that they need to rinse off and just to avoid swimming in there altogether. One of the exciting things that I don't know if my the previous chair, Deb Green, reported on this is that the State Department of Public Health has they have regionalized some public health functions with funding for regional collaborations. In Massachusetts, there are 220 public health departments, which is really unusual compared to other states. It's usually a county basis. So there's been some regionalization. Concord's joined forces with Wayland, Sudbury, Lincoln, Carlisle. I think there's another town or two, Bedford's in there. And this is going to enable us to do some shared staffing. And with that, it might just open up opportunities for some other more proactive work within our health department. So that's pretty exciting because other states with well-funded health departments, you know, are able to do much more prevention work. Hopefully COVID has, you know, just really highlighted the importance of these of boards of health, public health departments, and you know, we'll see some really interesting work coming out of this. I think that's it for now. If anybody has any questions, I'm here.
Let me just, Jill,
I have a quick question.
yes.
Jill?
Yeah, sure.
Let me just say first, Cynthia, to Jill and the whole Board of Health, on behalf of the entire town, what a really great job you guys did with COVID, like you said. Thank you so much to Susan Rask and your board.
Thank you. I'll pass that on. Yeah, they're pretty amazing, and they're exhausted and so ready for their vacations.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to do
Cynthia?
the same thing and
Cynthia.
thank you for your collaboration with the schools. It's been fantastic.
Thank you.
We can't say enough how appreciative we are of the work. Quick question. Do you have the breakout for the vaccination rate on 12 to 17?
Yeah, bear with me. I'm stuck using my phone because my computer. I'm on a borrowed computer.
If you could send it to me offline, that's fine.
No. I have it right here. So you said 12 to 17?
Yep.
So, well, it's 12 to 15. There's the population. There's a total population of 958, which is only 5% of the town population. There's been at least 7% with one dose, which is, less, it's just very small. I mean, they're not really eligible yet. So it's, well, it just started. So yeah, just 7% with at least one dose, fully vaccinated, partially vaccinated 357.
That's good.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So there's been a handful. So
Right. It'll move this summer, I'm hoping.
yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Good.
And then
Thank you.
hopefully we get vaccines for younger children than that, because I think there were actually a couple of cases among an 8-year-old recently. There was an 8-year-old that was infected and another couple in their 70s. Otherwise, there's been very, very few cases of infection in recent weeks, which is good.
Very good.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We will move to Jerry Frankel.
Hi, and thank you for the opportunity here. I'm Jerry Frankel, 132 Jenny Dugan Road, Chair of the Sustainability and Energy Committee, new chair that is. We met last night, actually, over Zoom. This was our second meeting in the new term. The primary topics for us were what are we going to do in this coming year? We were able to focus in on first supporting Janice Setti in an event that she will be hosting for CMLP in September. I believe it goes by the name of Electrify Concord, and it will focus on heat pump adoption and EVs. So that's a fairly short-term thing, sort of tactical in nature, although it lines up well with the strategic discussions that we had. For the next year, we want to focus on engaging both the commercial sector and especially the residential sector to increase energy efficiency and overall electrification. Of course, this has been going on for a while, particularly for the residential sector, but the commercial sector too, not a whole lot has been done. As far as the committee itself, we have a couple of vacancies. Matt Johnson last night alerted me that there are a couple of green cards available that we'll begin to look into. But certainly if anyone knows anybody who is interested in climate action or energy efficiency or those sort of things, we'd love to talk to them. We have to say we are feeling the loss of Kate Hanley. She's been tremendous and essential in our work over the last several years. We understand that the job description has been posted. I don't know if we've had any responses yet, but I intend to be in touch with Kate Hodges to find out the status and offer assistance from our committee if possible. Lastly, just regarding in terms of how we will meet going forward, we've been meeting over Zoom as everyone else has, but last night we met over Zoom as well. And I think for next month, we will do that again because some members are traveling. They still want to participate, but they're not local. After that, I'll try and move the meetings to in person. That's it for CSEC. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Next, we will go to Burton Flint.
Thank you, Terry. I'm Burton Flint. I'm the chair of the planning board. We are looking at moving to a hybrid meeting for our next meeting. The remote meetings have been very successful in terms of getting a large number of members of the public to attend our meetings, especially with ours that oftentimes run long and quite late into the night. But we also miss getting together as a committee and the deliberative process that happens in person. So hopefully hybrid will do both of those things. For people that don't know the ins and outs of what the planning board does, we sort of wear two hats, one of which is, as a reviewing authority for special permits, subdivisions, planned residential developments and the like, and also proposing updates to the zoning code. In the first category, things that have been keeping us busy over the last year or so have been a couple of big projects, one of which was ongoing for about 8 months of review, and that was a subdivision on a 22 house subdivision on Main Street in West Concord, and that ultimately resulted in an approval, but there was some litigation involving the conditions that were placed on that by the board. Another big project that's still pending is a new educational facility proposed by the Concord Children's Center to replace their existing facilities at Ripley School and at Emerson Hospital on Old Bedford Road, and that application is pending review with several public meetings and hearings on that to date. In our role of proposing zoning updates, we're, as many of you, I'm sure, we're generally focused on trying to implement things that were done that came out of the 10-year plan and implementing some of those goals, which specific to zoning tends to be things around encouraging alternative housing models. We've done the 2-family housing in one district and accessory dwelling units across town in the last couple of town meetings. We're focused on those types of changes, as well as looking at incentives that we could get to encourage the town's electrification goals in accordance with our climate goals. That's very hard because we're quite constrained in terms of what constitutes, things that are properly within the building code, which we can't modify, but we're looking at some positive changes coming from in the state law on that. But nonetheless, just trying to identify where we can have incentives there as part of the special permit process. Another area that we've been looking at is making updates to the zoning for the Thoreau Business District. That's essentially the parcels of land around the Concord MBTA station and including with Crosby's CVS and that area. We've been in about a year-long process working with the Metropolitan Area Planning Committee or Council. That we've got a consultant that the town was able to engage from that has facilitated sort of a charrette process with public meetings, getting input on what people would like to see. The goal is to make modifications that would facilitate a more transit-oriented development around the depot and also more smart growth. That the zoning, a lot of our zoning code is developed during a time when people weren't as focused on creating walkable communities around zoning and around transit stations and the like. And in the background, there was a new law passed in Massachusetts. I believe it's the MBTA Communities Act, that requires each town in the Commonwealth that has a commuter rail station to at least one to have within a certain distance of that station the ability to build multifamily housing by right. So no permit process. We don't currently have that in Concord, so that would need to be either in West Concord or around that Thoreau depot. So it's possible that some of the zoning changes we may propose for the Thoreau Business District could address that as well. We've had a number of public meetings on that and gotten a lot of really good input over the last year. And now we're sort of moving into the process of deliberating over that, over that input with the goal of proposing some zoning changes not likely not for that special meeting that might happen with us with the middle school, but probably for next year's town meeting. Thank you, Terry.
Question from Melissa Sawfield.
Thank you. Yes, Burton, can you explain again a little bit the status of the, is the 1442, the project on Main Street in West Concord? It has now been allowed to erect 22 houses. Is that right?
Not quite. And I'll just, because of litigation and things like that, I'll be maybe a little less verbose than I might typically be. The subdivision was approved. There were conditions in the subdivision approval. Those were litigated, and there was a ruling in one piece of that litigation, and there's outstanding litigation in another court. But prior to proceeding, there are a number of other steps that would need to be followed. The significant one being the successful issuing of a earth removal permit, and that's before the Zoning Board of Appeals. It's not a planning board issue, but there's the topography of that site that's proposed to be developed would require. It's a large number of, it's over 60,000 cubic yards of earth to be removed, and that's been a significant concern for the neighboring, for the abutters and neighboring area. But that's under consideration by the ZBA now.
Other questions for Burton? Okay, we will move now to, thank you, Burton. We will move to Dawn Gariello.
Good morning, Terry, and congratulations on your new role. Hi, everyone. I'm Dawn Goriello. I am a co-chair of the Concord Middle School Building Committee. I co-chair with Pat Nelson, so she's often attended these. This is my first one, so thank you for having me. For those who don't know, we are planning for a new middle school, and what that means is we've completed feasibility on the project for a 700 student new middle school, approximately 145,000 square feet, and we're just currently tad over $100 million project budget, total project cost. Our goal is to make smart decisions about the project as we are in schematic design, which is a critical phase in the public school design process, where you make major design decisions that will allow our designers to draw a building, to have it professionally estimated and reconciled by independent estimators, and hopeful to be able to take that project forward to, as it's been alluded to a couple of times this morning, a special town meeting, hopefully this winter, and then obviously a ballot on the heels of that. So our next meeting is next Thursday, July 29th at 7:30 a.m. We are still conducting meetings currently over Zoom. And I believe our board has one current opening. There's been there's a construction experience seat that has been tougher than we would have liked to fill. So someone in the construction industry and has significant experience, whether it's building projects or running a construction business. So that's one seat we have open. If anyone knows anyone, I know Matt Johnson's been working hard to try and fill that seat. So any questions?
Dawn, I have a question.
Sure.
When you say the special town meeting might be this winter, I know you don't know yet. Does that mean December, January, February? Any idea yet?
We had put out a couple schedules that had us, I think one was as early as early December, right ahead of the holidays. And the other one put us just after the holidays. I want to say sometime in January. I don't have the schedule open in front of me, but right. There were kind of a couple scenarios. And I know that Stephen Crane is working, I hope he is, I need to touch base with him, working towards trying to nail that down. So I know our team is putting out the estimating set like late October. And usually that takes a few weeks to get it estimated, reconciled, and brought in front of the building committee. So that's as much as I know right now, Terry. Okay. I wish I had a more defined date.
That's fine. That's what I had seen too. So you're still in December or January for now.
I'm hopeful for that. Yes.
Right. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next, we will go to Eliza Bemis.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Trying this on my phone. Hi all, I'm Eliza Bemis. I'm the co-chair of the Ag Committee along with Melissa Maxwell from Barrett's Mill Farm. Just a quick update, lots of farmers dealing with flooding, excessive water issues right now, but hopefully it'll stop raining this month. Just a couple of updates. The spring video we did with Minuteman is on their YouTube. It's also, the link is on the town's agriculture committee page. We got a lot of views, which was fun. I know with Phil leaving, we were going to do another one this year, but it looks like we're going to put that off and do another one next spring. And it's pretty cool. It's just a nice promo of Concord's agriculture and what's sort of going on now. We are going ahead with planning for Concord Ag Day. We are going to be on September 11th from, it's a Saturday, from 10 to 2 in our usual spot downtown Concord on the Mill Dam. We're working on planning that right now, and that's what we've been up to.
Thank you.
Oh, I was going to say we are meeting in person too. We had our first meeting last month at Verrill Farm, and we probably are going to be in person for the foreseeable future. Thanks, Terry.
Very good. Okay. Next, we have Lindsay Howard.
Thanks, Terry. As you know, we've had a vacancy on the library committee for some time. We met last night and are now prepared to make a recommendation to the select board likely later this morning to fill that vacancy. We will also be recommending a new chair to take my place starting at our next meeting, which is scheduled for September 21st. The library continues to work hard to rehire or to hire back to kind of pre-COVID levels of staff, and the library is also actively searching for a new director. There is a job posting up now, and I believe the close date for submissions is August 12th. So hopefully we can move through the interview process relatively quick and get a permanent director installed in the library in short order. The library is also working towards restoring full hours. That would include evenings and weekends, and are hoping to be able to do that after Labor Day. And with respect to the expansion project, it continues to be on time and on budget, with the Hayward Benjamin House expansion scheduled to open in late October of this year, and the renovations to the original structure should be completed in early 2022. And that's all.
That's very good news, Lindsay. Thank you. It's great to have the library open again. And you reminded me, this is an announcement for all committees. If you're going to have a new chair, once this person is elected, please let Jeremy know. So they're on the chair's distribution list. Also, any vacancies, I'm trying to jot them all down here and announce them. You want to coordinate with Jeremy, make sure he's posting them on the website. Thank you very much. Next, we're going to go to Virginia. Please introduce yourself. Can't quite see who that is.
Hi, yes. Hi, Terry. It's Denny. And I'm the chair of the Tax Relief Committee. And we've got a new member, Jack Clymer, who with Eric Van Loon, there are just three of us. And we've got a meeting coming in September. I think we haven't figured it out, but our job is mostly to raise money to help people pay their tax bills. The money is distributed by the Hugh Cargill Committee discreetly and confidentially and whatnot. But this is mostly to help people who are long-term Concord residents who are having a hard time paying their taxes. So we currently help about 60 families, and let me just finish. 60 families, and applications can be made to the Hugh Cargill Committee for help. And that's about it.
Thank you very much, Virginia. Next, we will go to Nat Welch. Nat, you're on mute.
Can you
Thank-
hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I am chair of the Bruce Truman, co-chair of the Bruce Truman Rail Trail Committee. We've been continuing to meet. We do have a new member, Debbie Edelman, who moved to town recently. She just joined last month. Probably many of you saw that the bridge over Route 2, the girders were laid over the weekend. Very exciting for us, for me especially. The completion date is still July 2022, though. That is, the current schedule. We've had kind of our hot issue right now is the last half mile of construction in Concord between Powder Mill Road and Sudbury. Both the Stone Root Lane, the Pickard Farm Trust, and the White Pond neighbors are very concerned about protecting the ecology around the pond and limiting the ability for people to go from the trail down to the water. And as you can imagine, especially given the current state of the pond, there are some real issues there. But I think we're doing a good job of listening to the community and helping address what's happening. Marcia Respich has been very helpful in working with Mass DOT and getting the right things into the plan to protect White's Pond. That's pretty much it. Our next meeting is September, and thank you, and enjoy the trail. Please get out there. It's very nice.
Nat, you said that the completion date for the Route 2 portion is not until July of 2022. Did I hear that right?
Yes, we've been told by the project manager that the trail segment between Commonwealth Avenue and Acta Indoor Sports will not be officially completed until July 2022. We're trying to find out kind of what the reasons are, why it's going to take another year, given that the girders are up. But I don't know enough information to say why. But I do have an opinion. I'd like to see it happen a lot faster. That's a personal opinion, not official committee opinion. And I just want to thank Terry, you for your liaison work over the last year with us. Very helpful, and welcome Matt Johnson as our new liaison from the committee, from the select board. Thank you.
Okay, that's very interesting news. Thank you, because with those girders being up, it does appear that it's finished. So I think you adding the word official, I think we're going to have some unofficial traffic coming through there.
Well, I think that's one of the concerns. I did a month and a half ago run into someone who was in authority at the site, because I've been taking pictures just to record progress. And they said, they are concerned about people actually getting onto the site and walking across the bridge when it's not fully protected. So this is obviously an issue that the project manager and Mass DOT and we are concerned about. And I think the plans have all of the fencing and stuff to keep people out. But we can't protect people who are not smart. So hopefully they'll stay out.
Okay, thank you, Nat. Our next person is Diane Proctor.
Thank you, Terry, so much, and glad to see everyone. It's my first time at this meeting. I am the new chair of the CPC. We are not meeting in August, but we will be meeting in September. Our last meeting revealed a variety of things. First of all, a sense that the grants that the town approved are moving forward now. And also the good news that we have $107,396.16 that was not spent on various projects that has been returned to the CPC budget. So this coming year, we should have more money than we've had in the past. Always we depend upon the state to determine how much money we have. Grant application time is open. If you know anybody who wants to apply for a grant or needs additional money, for projects that are appropriate for CPC, please do not hesitate to contact me or to contact Heather Gill, who's the administrative assistant who brilliantly supports our committee. Thank you very much.
And what is the deadline, Diane?
I'm sorry that I don't know, Terry. That was not part of the discussion last time. And
okay,
being the new chair, that's something I've got to figure out.
Okay, it's usually September.
Usually September. Okay.
Right. Okay. Wendy, you have a question?
No, Terry, I need to apologize because it's 10 o'clock and I have to go to another meeting. So I'll give my update later, or I can send something in writing.
Okay, you're actually,
Just, you know.
You're actually, anyway, do you have a very, can you?
Sure, let me just, I'll be very quick. So I'm sure that, so Wendy Ravelli, Chair of the Concord Light Board. And I'm sure for many of you, broadband is top of mind. Just a quick update, as many of you know, this was really quite a large outage at the end of June, early July. You know, the board is still waiting for an after hours report, which sort of goes into detail about what some of the root causes were and what the management actions will be that come from that. So we're very focused on that. For sure, there'll be improvements in communication around that and incident response activities. So more to follow on that. We're also supporting, obviously, the new committee that's being formed and look forward to the board looking at that charge next week. And the other sort of key activity for us is that we have embarked as part of our long-term strategy. We've hired a consultant to focus on our advanced meter infrastructure, which is really looking at our strategies for installing new meters across citizens and business. And the strategy here is to really collect additional information around electricity usage and provide information back to all our customers in ways to manage their electricity use more efficiently. So many of you may have received requests for a survey to provide feedback from citizens. So that project is underway, and I'll provide more updates in the future.
Thanks so much, Wendy. Quick question on that report, sure. Broadband. Do you think you'll have it before the debriefing on Monday night?
So I think I thought the intention was that that Dave might be coming to the light board to give an after hours report or provide an update. So you may get it at the select board before we get it at the light board, because our light board meeting is not happening until early August.
Okay.
So
right, whatever works. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thanks. And I apologize to everyone. I have to drop. Thank you.
Okay. So I should ask now, is there anybody else who's on a time constraint? Okay, I see Josh Galper, if you would like to go next.
Thanks very much, Terry. Hi, everyone. Josh Galper, co-chair of the White Pond Advisory Committee with Beth Kelly, who's also on the call. We're working on 3 areas primarily: on water quality, on testing and monitoring, and people management. In the category of water quality, as Jill mentioned earlier, the pond has largely been closed this year. This should be seen as the status quo. The science strongly suggests the amount of nutrients that we continue to put into the pond mean that these toxic algae blooms that we're seeing will continue to emerge in summers and probably be present, for the majority of summers, period. We have a number of recommendations that we're putting forth about how to improve the situation. However, it's going to take some pretty serious intervention from the town. In testing and monitoring, we have a number of citizens around the pond who have been very actively engaged in testing. The Board of Health tests at 2 locations in the pond. Other locations held by private landowners are not typically tested. What we're doing is working to codify and organize the testing, make it more widespread, and let more people know what's going on. Currently, the number of people, abutters, visitors who actually know the quality of water at the pond are relatively few compared to the number of people who visit the pond. The third area around people management, as many of you know, the non-beachfront property, the unmonitored areas around the pond can see 200 visitors on a nice day. While that's wonderful, they also leave behind a lot of trash and contribute more nutrients to the pond. The pond's people management lack of program at this time is going to be further strained by the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, as well as the Sudbury development on 117 Quarry North, which is expected to put in 274 units just in Sudbury alone. And they are advertising White Pond as one of the attractions of purchasing at that location. I'd add also that we're seeing tremendous community engagement. We've seen very large numbers of people turn out to our meetings, which are in hybrid form. A new youth group has formed, completely independent of anything that this committee is doing. They're taking on their own projects. We're having some coordination with them just to keep everybody aligned. The community is very active and concerned about information sharing, and that's a topic of our last meeting and our upcoming meeting next Wednesday, July 28th. And then just to wrap up, Terry, to one of your earlier questions, we are meeting in hybrid form. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. And I'm glad you brought that up about the hybrid form. I was at that meeting. It was at Harvey Wheeler, right?
Yes.
Yes, I was participating by Zoom, and we could not see or hear many of the people. So would you please coordinate with Jeremy, and they will help you with the setup.
Sure.
It might be in a different location. We might put the camera somewhere differently so that we can have a really good quality hybrid meeting. Thank you.
Yep, we're happy to do that. It was very much a do-it-yourself kind of operation.
Exactly. Okay, well, it's a learning as we come out of COVID. We're all learning, and we'll get better as we go along. So is there anybody else who needs to go right away? Juliuska.
Thank you so much, Terry, and welcome as the new chair here. I'm part of the Public Ceremonies Committee here in Concord. So we are planning on having the honored citizen that should have happened last February or March last year. We're going to try to do that this fall. So we have a date potentially of in September, and we're going to finalize that hopefully in the next week. We have not been having any in-person meetings at all. Everything is via Zoom, and we will continue to do that. Right now, we're just making our quorum. So, and we have someone that should have been off the committee at the end of May, and he's staying on in order for us to continue to have our meetings. So we are looking to fill 3 additional positions. But that's sort of our update on the celebrations committees.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry. Congratulations and have a good day.
Thank you too. Okay, let's see. We will go back in order. Ed Nardi.
Yes, good morning. Ed Nardi, Chair of the Natural Resource Commission. Let's see, we are holding meetings as a hybrid. We were the first up June 16th, so we kind of jumped in person and online. And to date, that has been going pretty well. So we'll continue that going forward. As far as members, we do have a full commission. However, we have one long-term member who's looking to get off, but he's been more than generous with staying on until we find someone to take his position. 2 projects to note of recent, the Sawmill Brook Crossing along Monument Street. Many of you might have seen the temporary lights up there. Given that the beavers impounded about 27 acres of land upstream. And according to Delia Kay, our director, kudos to the town engineering department, the DPW, who worked hand in hand with the NRC and police to bring that under control. And we're about to start construction on repairing that culvert and the roadway. And it's only being held up by a DEP number at this point, an issuance of a DEP number. So, but as of now, all stable, which is very important. And just lastly, touching on the White Pond, I think it was last meeting we approved the ADA access and stormwater management improvements plan for White Pond, which should, when done, contribute to somewhat of a better health of the White Pond area. So And beyond that, it's business as usual in terms of additions and new homes and the like. Thank you.
Thank you. Diane has a question.
Hi, Ed. This is Diane Proctor. I wonder if you could tell me whether there has been someone from the NRC appointed to the CPC.
Yes, very timely. Yes, we just will appoint. We will recommend someone this evening at our hearing. One of the members signed on, and so we'll vote that recommendation to the selectmen and forward that along.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.
Ed, if you get that to Jeremy today, we will be able to include it in our meeting coming up Monday.
Okay, will do.
Diane?
I see that Burton is still on. Burton, are you going to continue on the CPC, or is somebody from the planning committee, somebody different from the planning committee, going to join us?
Diana, that'll be me. I look forward to being on your board. So yeah,
so much. All right.
I raised my hand for that. Thanks.
Okay, great. Next we will go to Carmen Reese.
Hi, most of what I had to say has already been said by others. Terry let everybody know what the schedule is for town meeting insofar as it's currently in place, more to come. Chris mentioned that we are in need of another person on the finance committee, and it would be great if it's someone from the business committee. That's a business community. That's a wonderful perspective to have. And I'll just note, you know, we have some close to 13,000 registered voters in Concord, and it remains puzzling why it's so hard to find volunteers like all of you to serve on our boards and committees. I will say, Terry, that several years back at Ag Day, the select board had a table with green cards and town reports to talk up board and committee membership, let people know what opportunities were there, and hand out green cards. And it proved very successful. I know I had at least a couple of folks appointed to the finance committee who to whom it had occurred to volunteer because of the select board being there that day. So I'll just suggest that as a thing to think about.
Great idea. I remember that. Thanks for the reminder. And we'll have our liaison get in touch with the Ag Day people. I know Henry Dane is walking the streets with his green cards and bringing them to the library. And also all of you, we should all be out saying how much fun we're having, because it is fun. Otherwise, we won't be doing it. So thank you, Carmen. Great. Beth Kelly, you're next. And I think maybe Josh covered White Pond, unless you want to add anything. Beth, are you still there? Okay. All right. Is there anyone I've skipped over? I think we've covered everyone.
Terry. Cynthia Rady, Concord School Committee. Our next meeting will be hybrid on Wednesday, July 28th at 8 a.m. Sort of it's unusual times. I just want to make people, the agenda should be posted, at the end of this week. We haven't really been meeting publicly. The only unfortunate news I have to pass along is the Thoreau fire. So the remediation and repairs are underway, and I think a plan for the displaced classrooms will be announced at or discussed at our next meeting. And we will go through our liaisons and committee appointments at that meeting as well.
Cynthia, I'm so sorry. I checked you off because you had questions. I don't know.
That's fine. That's fine. And I'm also representing the region as the Carlisle School Committee is meeting at this time, but there's no news out of the region specifically. Okay. Any questions?
Okay. if anybody missed the announcements that I had in the beginning, there was a long list of them. I'm happy to read through them again. If you want to stay on after the call, I'll read through all those announcements again. I think everybody that's here heard the announcements, but I don't quite remember. So if everybody else is all set, have a great day. Thank you so much for attending, and we'll see you next time.